are familiar with him, you notice that he died about a week ago. He was a key activist and later became the first secretary-treasurer of the UAW. But there were many, many others. And over the years, Arab Americans became so tied to the union that they also became the ward healers for the union. In other words, when they wanted to turn out the Arab vote, they would send several people who are in the paper. I won't enumerate them, but like Joe Barry, and even into the 60s, like a guy like Muhammad Isa, who would stand at the poll, do what the union told them to do, and pass out the union slate cards and the Democratic slate cards. And so this was also a transference into the Democratic Party as well. Now, later, Arab Americans run into some problems with the UAW, their purchase of Israeli bonds in the 1970s. But there's also a democratic lesson here. They organized the Arab Workers Caucus, which I chaired at the time, and took on the UAW's holding of Israeli bonds and elected Arab Americans across the country, including in California, to the UAW convention to raise the issue. Now, they were small in number, but today the UAW no longer has Israeli bonds. They did not drop them at that time, but the message got sent. And I think that that was an important period. But also, as the UAW moved on, for instance, in the last period, Stephen Jokic, who's also passed, became an Arab American, became the head of the union. It was interesting because at the same time, the head of the Ford Motor Company was an Arab American. And in fact, they used to come to Access and then go off in a corner and negotiate. This was an important period, too, for Arab Americans because they worked Arab Americans into the Democratic slate. Literally, they produced the number of people we would send to national conventions and would assured us a person on each Democratic slate to run off each election. And they still do that, by the way. So the UAW and the unions, many other unions, were pivotal to Arab American progress. Also, I want to say that there was a period in which a lot of Arab Americans basically began to run for office on their own. They really were not functions of the community and nominally functions of community interest. And I have a list of them, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll just mention a couple of those. And those include, I want to get the first one for you because he was a surprise to me.